Hello, this is John from caveofprogramming.com, and this is the first in a series of tutorials on JavaFX. In this tutorial, I'm going to talk about what JavaFX is and what you need to install to get started with it. And in the next tutorial, we'll create a Hello World JavaFX application. And I'm pretty new to JavaFX myself, so if you spot any glaring errors, then do let me know. But basically, JavaFX is a window toolkit for Java. In other words, it's an API for Java for creating desktop applications. And in fact, you can deploy JavaFX applications either as like a standalone package, or you can deploy them so that they run in a browser, or you can use Java Web Start so that people can click on a link on the internet and run the application that way. So it's intended to replace Swing, which is Java's current user interface GUI toolkit. It's now just the end of 2013. At the moment, everyone's still pretty much using Swing, but JavaFX is intended to replace that, and it's supposed to remedy a lot of the problems that exist with Swing. One of those problems being that it's not that easy, in some ways, arguably, to deploy a Swing application. The FX actually comes from, I believe it comes from the fact that it's intended to be a bit like Flash, in that you can have effects like transition effects, and you can do animation with it and that kind of thing. I believe you can also write games with it, although it's intended for creating sort of serious applications, like desktop type applications, like word processors, and it's got a rich set of charts that you can use, so you can build like really serious apps with it. And what else to say? I think that's basically it. Yeah, so let me show you what you need to install to get started with this. Yeah, so in a nutshell, you can create and deploy really serious GUI applications with JavaFX. Oh yeah, it also separates the kind of implementation of the user interface more cleanly from the code than Swing did. In Swing, you kind of had to enforce that yourself, and it was always difficult in Swing to hook up the different components, and JavaFX has fixed a lot of that, and there's a kind of XML type language which you can create using this scene builder application, or you can write it by hand, and that contains your user interface stuff, which is styled by style sheets, and then your code can concentrate on the real logic of your application. It's a little bit like how Android works, if you know any Android programming. But yeah, it's very good. So to actually get started with it, I'm gonna a lot of people use NetBeans with JavaFX because the Oracle Sun, I think it's their product, NetBeans. So of course they promote it because JavaFX is also their thing. They're the Java guys, basically. But Eclipse is much more widely used, as far as I know. It's more the industry standard IDE for Java developers. So for that reason, I'm going to use Eclipse in these tutorials, together with the freestanding Visual Designer Scene Builder. But you can use NetBeans if you want, and a lot of tutorials do use NetBeans. So what you need to install is, I'm going to assume that you know how to write Java programs and that you've got Eclipse installed. Now you might need to upgrade your version of Java. You're going to need Java 7. You're going to need JDK 7 or later. I see there's a JDK 8 available, but I think that's a little bit experimental at the moment. Maybe it's not by the time you're watching this, I don't know. But I'd recommend, at least at the end of 2013 here, if you search for like JavaFX download, and let's maybe go to, I don't know, this page, installing JavaFX here. You're gonna need to install the Java 7 SDK that includes JavaFX, and as far as I understand, not all versions of JDK 7 do. I see you can also install the standalone JavaFX SDK. What I did was I just went to the JavaFX downloads page here. It's pretty easy to find, and I installed this. I think I installed this JavaFX for Java SE7, or did I install the JDK? I don't know. Anyway, make sure you install that and download Java Standard Edition 7 with JavaFX. I think that's what I installed. So you need that so that you've got the JavaFX API on your system. So of course you'll have Eclipse already, I'm assuming that. And you'll also want to install the JavaFX scene builder. And this is a really nice visual designer application that we're going to be using in these tutorials to design our GUIs. And then with Swing, people tend to write user interfaces by hand because I haven't seen any really good visual designer for Swing. They've all got a lot of deficiencies. But with JavaFX, it's a different situation. And you can use this JavaFX freestanding scene builder together with Eclipse to create your Java FXML files, which will kind of be rendered as your user interface. This is a great tool to have, the JavaFX scene builder. And I'm going to be using 1.1, I guess, but if there's a later version out now by the time you're looking at this, then certainly use the later version. And the final thing that we need is, if you go to Eclipse and go to Help and Eclipse Marketplace, if your version of Eclipse has this, and then search for, or if you just search in there for JavaFX, and you'll find a plugin called EFX Clips, which is the most awful name that they could possibly think of. I don't know how to pronounce it, but you need to install this EFX Clips plugin for Eclipse as well. And if you install that together with the JavaFX API, which whether it's bundled with your JDK 7 or not, if you get it right and then you install Eclipse, what you should find is that you then have the option in Eclipse to go to File, New, Other, and you'll be able to select JavaFX and JavaFX Project. So you need to get that working, and for that you need the plugin and the SDK. If you don't have the marketplace in Eclipse, you can, because some versions of Eclipse don't seem to have this Eclipse marketplace, you can go to install new software. It seems to move around and indeed get renamed, for that matter, between the window and the help menu. But if you go to that, you can always add a site here, add a download site here, make up a name for it, and then you can install stuff that way. And to get the URL that you need, just search for something like JavaFX Eclipse plugin download, and from there you can get like the URL that you paste into Eclipse to install it. But you only need to do that if you haven't got the Eclipse marketplace in your version of Eclipse. So that's it for this tutorial. In the next tutorial we'll create a Hello World JavaFX application. If you're watching on YouTube, please click the subscribe button, and also I hope you'll consider going to my website www.caveofprogramming.com and subscribing to the mailing list here, because there I'll give you discounts on my premium tutorials, although this tutorial's free, and you can also get notified when I create new stuff. So that's it for this time, and until next time, happy coding.